Hi, it's Sue from Snake River Stamping. Welcome to my stamp room today. Today is Tuesday, March 24th. It's my niece's birthday and my friend Carrie's birthday. So happy birthday to both of you today. I am pre-recording this video earlier because I have, what a surprise, many doctor's appointments on Tuesday. So this will be pre-recorded, but I will set it to play at our usual time on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Okay, hopefully all of that will come together and I'll remember all the things. I'm going to make some quick announcements and then we're going to get started with today's card. Okay. Just to review, big news, we have a new catalog coming in May. Okay, yeah, our next one is May, and they will be a little bit smaller. They're doing away with the annual catalog and going to 3 catalogs a year. Now, these catalogs would be bigger than the typical mini catalogs because they will have core products in them also. But you won't have to be flipping back and forth and finding which catalog things are in. We have new magnetic pads coming. I was going to grab one. We bought some of Close to My Heart's product line, and one of them was the ink pads that come with a magnet, and these are very easy to open and close. They will have a felt pad, I believe, instead of the foam pad, which helps with the quality of some of the inks. Not all of them, but some of them have problems. Some chemical disturbance between the foam and the ink, so these will be felt pads, but they'll be like this. They'll be this size and shape. They're a little skinnier but a little longer, but they still stick in your ink slots if you already have ink slots. Let's see if I can move that a little bit, get that one light out of the way. There we go. See if that works. Okay. But anyway, new ink pads. Okay. Retiring colors. At the end of April, these colors are retiring, and they're going pretty fast right now. People are ordering them if they really liked it, like these colors. Like Petunia Pop was one of my favorites. So Pretty in Pink, Peach Pie, which we're going to use today, Shy Shamrock, Summer Splash, and Petunia Pop are the colors that are going away. And these are some pictures, not great, but of the colors that will be leaving us at the end of April. They will be retiring, and we will get new colors. And I could not find on my website the examples of the new colors. Of course, there probably are, I just can't find them. And Paper Pumpkin, my Paper Pumpkin came last week with this is a beautiful set. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I hope to make some of these with you because they're really great. And in March, this was the March Paper Pumpkin, you got an extra set of stamps. And I also could not find the new upcoming April, May, and June. They usually do 3 months at a time. I couldn't find the, I don't think they've released the photographs of those paper pumpkins yet. Don't forget your product of the month for March is called Notes of Spring. Has these little animals on it. And in fact, we're going to use, this is it, we're going to use a little note of thanks, I think. I'm just going to use sentiment out of this particular set. I need to move that and make sure I'm not turning that off. So we're going to be using that today. Remember, you need to make a $75 order, and it's only $5 then, but it's after your discounts and rewards, tax and shipping. So it's a $75 paid order, and it's only while supplies last. Okay, I think that the December product of the month is still available if you would like that. And this must be the January one. Okay. Don't forget to shop last chance products. These are things that are on sale, things that are going to retire, and there's often a discount on that. You'll find it under your specials tab. And my specials for this month are a $20 order. Of course, you start earning your own Stampin' Rewards, and then you accumulate those and can spend them anytime later on a later order. You can't spend them on the order you do today, but you can save them up and use them on any other orders. I usually save them up so I have a little bit in there to make a difference in my bottom line. $40 order, you're going to get a quarter package of DSP Perennial Lavender. And I was going to pull that. Whoops. It's all coming out of here. Anyway, this is Perennial Lavender, and you will be getting essentially a quarter pack, but they're going to be cut the long way, 6 by 12, because that goes with the March PDF that you might earn. And if you do earn the March PDF, you can use it to make this card. I'll send you the instructions, and if you're at a $50 threshold, you get a quarter of a package of this for free, and it includes all these pretty colors. Some of them are directional, and I cut them so they would match up directional wise. Whoops. Very pretty paper. And this is current paper. This is not retired paper. And then the other side has more neutral backgrounds and things on them. So those are specials for that. And you get, okay, we're back here. The Perennial Lavender, 10% Stampin' Rewards, $50 quarter package of the Perennial Lavender, plus the 4 card kits for this month. And the card kits for this month, we did those on March 3rd, and you can go back and watch all the directions if you would like. And we were making these cute bunny cards, and I do all the cutting for you. You have to have your own inks and your own stamps, but you'll get 4 of them. I just happen to have 5. And if you would like more masculine colors, you know, versus the Easter colors, you can just tell me what you would like, and I'll cut little masculine bunnies for you. And I do have a stamp, 2 stamps, this one and this one. I colored this in. I only stamped black and white, but you can color it in with blends or watercolor markers or colored pencils, whatever you would like. But this is from a different set. This is not Stampin' Up. That's why I can stamp it for you. And if you don't like it, just turn it over and you have a blank sheet. Okay, so these are the card kits that we're doing, and you'll get the gems, you'll get the bows, you'll get all the stuff cut for those. Okay. that's your March card kits. And your 10% Stampin' Rewards. $75, you still get the perennial lavender paper, you still get the card kits, 2 of each design, and you get the new March PDF, which was this one that I just shared with you that goes with the perennial lavender paper. If you would like, this card looks good in any kind of paper. I also made it featuring a butterfly on it. This one I did the kintsugi, the imperfections one, and this one I did a butterfly on that one. And you get your Stampin' Rewards, and you qualify for the product of the month for only $5 at that point. Okay, all qualifying orders are before tax and shipping. Coupons are redeemed Stampin' Rewards, of course. So those are my specials for this month. And so I hope you will take advantage of some of those things, because I think we have not a lot of March left. The last time I was on, I skipped last week because I didn't have things done and I wasn't feeling well. But we were doing this card, and we did this one. I think those are the 2 that we did last week, if I remember correctly. And this was from Forever Florals, and they just make a really lovely card. Didn't finish that one. I think I did finish this. I did finish this one. Yeah, and it has a pull-out flap in here, and it makes a really cute card. You can go back and look on March 10th if you're interested in this one, with Forever Florals. Okay, so today we're going to make a card, and these are some of the things we're going to use. We're going to use a little bit of Notes of Spring. We're going to use this large flag die out of Stylish Shapes. Use this one, Stylish Shapes. We're going to use Paradise Garden, and I think I'm just using You Make the World a Better Place. So I'm using these 2 just for the sentiments. And then Petals of Beauty is the set that I'm featuring on here with the matching Designer Series paper. Lovely Beauty, I think. It's a specialty Designer Series paper. So those are some of the things I'm pulling from. And I have a few other examples to show you after we finish this card. Oh yes, I'm using the embossing folder. This is a new one, Paradise Garden Hybrid Embossing Folder. I used that on one piece. And I think I have, yes. I'm going to change, I wrote down pearlized dots in my description, but I'm probably going to use these. These come with the set, and I forgot I had these. These are pearlized faceted circles, number 166978. And I forgot to, I might be able to change that because I'm pre-recording this. I might be able to go back in and change that before I actually publish this. But we're going to use these instead of the pearls. I wrote down iridescent pearls. Those are kind of my go-to whenever I'm looking for something really quick. So let me show you what all we've got. Now, all of these measurements are in my description. So, I mean, you can sit and write this down, but they're in the description, okay? This is the card base, 4.5 by 11. You're going to score it at 2.5 inches, 3 3/4 inches, 6 3/4 inches, and 8 1/4 inch. Okay, I just stuck an extra piece of white in here in case I make a mistake and I need a scrap of white, because I have a lot of white. Maybe I'll go through those later. You will need a piece of vellum about 3 by 3.5, maybe 3.5 by 3.5. It depends on which leaves you decide to cut out and how big they are. You need, this is the main DSP, Lovely and Beautiful, and this is the one I embossed. And you can kind of see it on the back a little bit better, but I embossed it with this. It's really subtle, Paradise Garden hybrid folder, and it just makes these very subtle leaves over this floral image that I thought looked really pretty. So you're going to use that. You need two pieces of peach pie. Oh, this is 3 3/8 by 3 3/8. It's for the middle section, and you're going to emboss it. Then you need 2 peach pie bases, 3.5 by 3.5, because one of them, this is going to go on it in the middle, and then we have another piece exactly the same size, 3 3/8 by 3 3/8. This is white for the top, and we're going to do some things to that. Okay, and then on the very bottom of our card, because this is an accordion waterfall card, so there's 3 layers, and the bottom layer is basic white 3 3/4 by 2, and it goes on top of, see, this is just the other side of this. It's going to go on top of this piece of DSP that's 4 by 2 1/4. So it just has like 1/8 of an inch border around that, and that'll go at the bottom. Okay, you need our stylish shapes, the largest flag die. I told you about that. We're going to stamp a sentiment on that. And then at the top, we're going to make our own shape by cutting some basic white 3 3/8 by 1 7/8. And then we have a circle that's going to go on top of it, and we're going to create our own shape to stamp a greeting on here. Okay, and then we're going to have some floral with vellum. I'm going to have some floral behind that. And this I cut from a 2 3/8 inch circle, which you can also find this size of circle in your circle dies pretty easily. And these 2 things get attached. I'll try to remember to do that. Okay, so those are all of our pieces and our parts that we're going to start with. And we're going to start with scoring this. Well, I was going to show you. This is the specialty paper, the Lovely and Beautiful specialty paper, and it has a variety of things in here. Lovely, lovely papers, all of them. They're very loose watercolor florals. Very, very lovely. And all of these. And then, of course, on the back, the more neutral things that we always need to have for backgrounds and things like that. So I have to apologize for my fingernails. Probably doesn't bother anyone but me, but it bothers me a lot. My my chemo nurse told me I cannot have fake fingernails anymore. So I have to go with my terrible fingernails. And my fingernails are terrible. And I'm the worst at taking care of them. And she said, oh, you can paint them yourself, but you just can't go to a salon because of the possibility of infection, because of the kind of cancer I have. It makes it really dangerous for me to get any kind of infection. So, as does most patients. But anyway, so I have actually two great things going on here. No fingernails, and my hair's falling out in chunks. So don't be surprised one of these days if I come on here with brand new hair, because it might be getting to that point. So this fresh Freesia, back to the card, off the fingernails, off the hair. You are going to slip this in. I better turn this the other way because I have to extend my arm. And we're going to make a score at 2.5. So remember to park our dark, and we score at 2.5. Then we score at 3 3/4. Okay, this is to make the waterfall. 6 3/4. And 8 1/4. Now, this 8 1/4 at the top is going to be the top, okay? So, I start at the bottom and I do a fold. I'm going to do a valley fold, a mountain fold, a valley fold, and a mountain fold. And that makes the base of my card. So it looks like a waterfall, looks like an accordion, and it's going to open like this. It's really important with this card because it tends to not like to stay shut. Okay, so I really want to take some time and use my bone folder and try to get these creases as firmly as I can. Okay, so if you notice, the bottom section will be a little bit smaller than the top section. You could measure it. See, this is like 2.5. Yeah, that's a 2.5 section. And they go like that. Okay. So I'm going to set that to the side. And I'm going to bring out my middle section. And I need to look at my cards just to make sure I'm getting this right. Because I made this the other day and who knows what I remember and what I don't remember. So this was our lovely and beautiful designer series paper that is embossed, and this is going to go in the middle section right in here, okay? And it is going to drip over the edge a little bit. So I'm going to use some glue to glue this on. And it's going to have a very narrow border. And So I'm using glue, huh? Maybe. There we go. Alrighty. And I am going to glue this on the middle section. Now I don't want to touch that fold. I don't want to touch that fold. So I want it just a little bit below that fold, and it's going to get centered and drop below. Now I want to glue it on the right place. So I am going to put a sticky note. I'm going to put a sticky note right there because I don't want to go glue any lower than that. Otherwise, I'll glue my card shut. I think that's enough. No, it's not. Okay, turn it over. That would be wiser. Put my sticky note there. Okay, now I am going to glue this down. I'm going to keep it above that sticky note. And I'm going to try to center this. Okay. Then I am going to grab my stylish shapes because one of my greetings is going to go down here on my stylish shapes. I'm going to save that for the next one. So I want a greeting down here. And I am going to put, you make the world a better place. Now, you can stamp in the fresh freesia, you could stamp in peach pie, or you could stamp in black. And I think because I noticed on one of my cards when I did peach pie, it just, and fresh freesia, it just didn't show up as well as I would like it to. So I am going to use tuxedo black on this. I'm going to grab my stamping. Stampin' Pierce mat here. Yeah, this is going to show it better. This will be a thank you note, of which I need many lately. Try to get this centered, hope my head's not in the way. Let it sit there for a minute. There we go. Good. And over here I have my Stampin' Scrub. So I can just, there's a wet side and a dry side. I like to use that to clean those off. Okay, we'll close this. I thought I would mention about those new stamp pads. This year they're just coming out with the 5 new ink colors. Okay, and then the following year they'll start transitioning into more. And you can buy new stamp pads if you want, or you can keep using the ones you have. I mean, I'm not going to buy all new stamp pads. That would be pretty costly. So I'll transition slowly, you know, like when I buy the new ink colors, I will get those, but as far as buying all new stamp pads at one time, probably not. Looking for some Stampin' Dimensionals. That's what I need. Because I'm going to put this on Dimensionals. And I'm just using my tweezers to poke it down and pop those papers up. And I'll put this down at the bottom. You make the world a better place. So that's our middle section that we start with. And now we'll go to the top section, which is our basic white and our peach pie. And before I glue this on the peach pie, I am going to grab my peach pie to make a little area here. I use a blending brush. And I'm going to just smooth on a little bit of color on here to go behind my stuff that I'm going to put on. So it's just going to look, you know, just like that. And I'm going to leave the white around the edges like that. Okay. So now I wanted if you want to, you can put a piece of ribbon on here just to go behind it. I think I will, because this is going to go behind the it's going to go behind this. Well, maybe we're not even going to see that. I don't think we're even going to see it. Never mind. I'm going to change my mind on that. Because we're on this particular one, on some other ones you did see it, but on this one you don't see it. So anyway, I'm going to put some peach pie there. I'm going to stamp on my circle, and I'm going to glue it onto this, so it's going to look like one piece. And I'll use the black again. And so this is my greeting, my sentiment that goes on the very top. And it says, a little note of thanks. And that's the one that came from our product of the month with the little animals on it. A smudge there. So be careful when you're stamping. I'm a heavy-handed stamper. I got a little bit on the top and I don't want that there. A little note of thanks. Wipe that off of my Stampin' Scrub. Okay, Now I do think that's the last of the black I'm using. Okay, so this is going to get glued on here. I'm just going to put a little bit like that. And that is going to get popped up down here because I'm going to slide some images down there, some from the Petals of Beauty. I'm going to use this one to stamp and cut a petal, and I'm going to do a leaf. I'm not sure which leaf I'm going to do. Out of Vellum. But I want this popped up so that the leaves will slide under them. And I'll be putting some gems on later. So this is going to go down towards the bottom. My little note of thanks does not look evenly done. So luckily that's still wet. Straighten up. The good thing about a circle is you can straighten it up. There, it looks a little better. Okay, so this is going to go on this, and it's going to go on the top of our waterfall. So I'm going to add some glue now that I've got this on. And remember, just very narrow border. Glue on my fingers, not good. Clean up a few of these things in our way. Oh, I was going to show you this. This is a 2 3/8 inch punch. And with our punches, they lock, and then you unlock them, and you slip the paper in. I don't really have a big enough one here. This is too small. But you just slip them in. You would use a bigger piece, of course. And you always, when you're, I can make a half. When you're cutting, you want to look at it upside down so you see exactly what you're cutting. So then I got a partial circle with that one. Okay. And then you squish it together, push it down to lock it so that it stays in place while you have it in storage. Okay. All right. So now we are going to create, we need vellum. Vellum. Okay. And we need, oh, let's just stick this on here while we're at it, because this needs to line up with side to side with this bottom one. And I want to do that same trick of turning this over and sticking my sticky note on here, because I don't want to go below that line with my glue. So I'm just going to put glue on the top of this so I don't glue my card shut. And I come back and I fold that down, and I want to be really careful this side to side thing. And straighten out my top and get my sides parallel and press that on. Now before I got a little bit of glue over here, and I've got my glue eraser. So now that it's dry, I can get some of that off. Yep. Okay. And so then I can take that off, and you can see I kept that below there. And so I have a little note of thanks. You make the world a better place, and this is opening. You get the surprise on the inside. Well, there's going to be a little surprise on the outside too with our pretty vellum. So, as a reminder, when you do vellum, you need the embossing buddy. And I'm just going to cover this because I'm going to use most of it. Okay. And you need Versamark, the special glue for vellum, and we're going to use our pretty gold that I have. There it all is right here. Versamark, pretty gold, and I have this flower from Petals of Beauty, and I'm going to stamp on that. A clean piece of paper, sort of clean. This is all it's just old paper that I didn't need, so I just cut it up and use it for this to cover my Stampin' Pierce mat to try to keep it a little cleaner. Now you want to get a good amount of this Versamark glue on your stamp, because you really want that to stick. And I'm going to put this up in the corner, leaving enough room for it to be cut. And I'm not sure if you can see that. I can see it. Can you see? You can see the reflection. That's the glue. Okay. I'm going to take that glue off. Okay. Close this, because blowing wow powder into that is a lose-lose proposition, let me tell you. And you just sprinkle generously and tap it off. And then I usually go through a second time just to make sure that I have it all. And I have a little brush here. Now I am going to put a leaf down there, so I do want to get that off. Okay, so that's just the powder, and it's still very, very fragile and removable. So you want to be really careful with that. So I want to pour this back in, because this wow powder, this stuff lasts a long time. You just keep reusing it. And it'll last you, I don't know, I've never run out, let me tell you, and I've been doing it for years. I've never run out of it yet. And I had my backwards tweezers around here somewhere. Probably don't want those. Get it over here. There they are. Oh, you get to see me do my gymnastics. So I just usually use some reverse tweezers to hold this because it's going to get really hot. And I am going to turn my heat gun on and let it warm up under the table for just a moment, because I do want it to go pretty fast on here. And come in and keep it moving. You'll see it turn glossy really fast, especially on vellum, because vellum is thin. And so now we have a beautiful glossy floral. And then I grab my dies that go with this, and sometimes you have to spin these around, play the spinning around game to get it in the right place. There's the right place. So I would tape this down and run it through my cut and emboss machine, but I already have that done. So I just wanted to show you how we make the pretty vellum flower. And remember to put your die back because you will want it again. So I have, see, I did do a banner in the pumpkin pie, but I felt like it didn't show up as well as I'd like, so that's why I switched to black. So I had that done. So I've cut out my vellum flower, and I cut out a leaf to go with it in gold, and I used this leaf. You can see that one. Okay, and there's another leaf or two in there, but you know, whatever you like, whatever. I mean, you don't even have to use this set. But one thing I do want to do is I'm going to take my dark peach pie, because I'm going to color the back of this, not on the front. I'm going to color on the back, because then I don't even have to be very careful as I'm coloring, but I am adding a little bit of color to my pretty using a Stampin' Blend dark peach pie. And I can't color this one because it was all gold. Okay, so I have a little bit of peach pie on there now, so it's not just clear, but it's going to go here, and I'm going to put this one over, slip this one over here. I'm going to drip that over the edge a little, I think. Maybe I'll put this one on first because I want it to go under the floral image. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go like that. I'll stick in a minute. Now this one, see, I want it to go under. I'm only going to glue on the bottom because glue will show through. So I'm only going to put glue down here, and it's going to be flying in the wind a little bit, but it will stick down at the bottom underneath that. And that's my strategy, is to keep it underneath there. And then I'm going to bring my gems in that go with this set. And I'm going to see what color I like. Oh, I like this one. Because see, I need a little bit of sparkle around here, so who knows how many gems we're going to get. Remember, they say odd numbers work the best, so 3, 5, 7. I mean, you could go even higher. I'm going to put a couple down here. Of my gems. Okay, so that's my top with my floral, my note, a little note of thanks, and then I open it up. You make the world a better place. And now I'm going to do the bottom, which is a lot easier because I'm going to put this 4 by 2.5 piece of DSP remote. It's just the opposite side, and it's got a little plaid thing going on here, and that's going to go down here. And then this is where I'm going to write. So I'm not going to put a lot here. What I am going to do is I'm going to take this leaf again that I used at the top, and I'm going to use some peach pie, and I'm just going to make some brackets down at the bottom that will frame what I'm going to write. Grab this. I think this card is really cute, and I'm going to show you some other examples. And got a smudge again. Turn that over. Maybe it'll come off. Ah. Yeah. I'm going to put one on this side. Turn it. And put one on this side. Okay, so that's just going to provide a frame for this. Now, if you want more room to write, you can cut some more squares, put them on the back. I'm going to center that on here. And my waterfall card is done. Oh, something on my finger. Hopefully I can get that off later. Anyway, I had something on my finger. I have a lot of things on my finger. What am I talking about? One thing you should always do is have your baby wipes handy to wipe off your hands so you don't smudge. Do not be like Sue and be a smudger. And so this is my waterfall card. Isn't that pretty? And it's very easy. You can put whatever kind of decor up here. You can use cardstock. You don't have to use Vellum and gold wow powder. You know, whatever you know, makes you happy with it. But let me show you some other ones that I made too, using this same method. So this one is real similar. Now I did use a different die here from an older die set that I liked, and I was able to put the ribbon under it and put the ribbon in. There's a hole right here, and so I put a ribbon under here, and I used Florals in Bloom, Pretty Floral Sweet Blooms, Shy Shamrock, and Petunia Pop are my colors on this one. So you can see that, and I just put on one side because this was kind of big, but I used the same stamp set that went with the Florals in Bloom. And I made this one a happy birthday card. Okay. And then made a couple more. This one's another happy birthday card. It's your birthday. Now this time I cut out a gold. Oh, my little glue dot didn't hold there. Okay, here we go. This one is Words of Beauty and Petals of Beauty bundle. So it's the same bundle but different. I used cardstock on this one with some gold foil paper. I put the ribbon on, and I didn't put a tag on this one like I did these other two. I just stamped directly on the paper, "It's your birthday." Okay, and then I used the DSP and I put, "I think you're amazing." And I didn't put anything behind the card at the bottom on either one of those. But anyway, another waterfall card. Set that to the side. So we have those three waterfall cards. And then my last one, I used the Sweet Bugs. I think that's what it is, the Sweet Bugs. Although I didn't put any bugs on here. I just put, I fussy cut some mushrooms. I put green in the background. I used this new green specialty rickrack. I think this is a mossy meadow. Nope, old olive, sorry. This is old olive. And I put some across there, and I just cut a circle. Hello, friend. And from the set, I cut some berries. I put some purple faceted dots. I put my mushrooms on. And then you open it up. And I have another label here. You make the world a better place, which is one I used down here. And this is also from the Sweet Bugs background paper. I did not emboss this, but I do like it embossed. And it had a little hole in it, so I tied some thread in there. And then at the very bottom, I just, again, I didn't put a background. I just put the card stock and stamped a couple of mushrooms from the kit on that one. And I just thought that turned out really cute too. So you can see that, as I like to do, I like to find fun folds or some kind of interesting fold so that I can dress them up and use a variety of kinds of paper and decorations that will make them all look different, yet the fold itself is fundamentally the same. You know, I didn't change too much. I did like this one, putting the background underneath the place where I'm going to write. I did like that, but I didn't do it on these first three that I made. I guess I didn't think of it yet. And I didn't emboss until I did this one. But I liked the embossing a lot. It added a little something. And then I liked the bows on these, but then I had smaller, when I did the bows, I had, and ribbon, I had smaller sentiment strips, or I didn't have a sentiment strip at all. I just stamped right on the card like that. So those are our cards for this week. And I hope that you will try this fold. It's really not hard. Let me flip the camera up. Oh, now I need back farther. Yeah, the light's different when it's down and when it's up. So I am hoping to do a card class next week. Not promising, but hoping, okay? And I have a couple different things in the works right now. It depends on what I get finished and made in time. If I don't, I'll let you know on my Facebook page. I'll make an announcement if I'm not able to do it next week. This week is a really busy week, really busy. But I think towards the end of the week I might have some time to do some things. At least that's my hope. But like I said, if I am unable to do a class next Tuesday, then I'll let you know. I might be going to every other week. It's just right now everything is raining down upon me with mostly appointments, doctor's appointments, like several a day, and we don't live close to town. We live out a little ways, and so for us, it usually when we have multiple appointments, we go in for the first one and just stay in town for number 2 and number 3 because it costs a lot to drive back and forth for us, and time wise, and you don't really gain anything by coming home for a half an hour. So you know, we end up staying in town and it's like hours at a time. So that's my primary issue, is time and managing it right now and making all the appointments that I need to make. So I appreciate your patience and your kindness and your orders. I always appreciate that. And I hope to see you next week, but if not, it'll be the week after. I will let you know. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed our Waterfall Accordion card.